Would you like to make more money in your gym and spend $0 to make an additional $20, $30, or $40,000 a year, right? Translate into a few extra $1,000 a month. I don't know who wouldn't. So stay tuned for what we're going to talk about in the video today, because that's exactly what we're going to go over. I am JP, and today we're going to talk about the 3 big movers in your gym to increasing profit. And this is really, really important, obviously, because that's the goal of what we're trying to do here, but because there's so much complexity and what if and I wonder and how do I out there in the space of just like, hey man, I want to make more money in my gym because I like doing what I'm doing, but I'm not getting paid well enough for my time, my effort, the sacrifices I'm making for my family. So this thing really needs to work for me instead of me having to work for it and just feeling like I have this big stressful burden on my back all the time that is my business. I don't want that feeling anymore. What do I do about it? So there are 3 big areas that we can work in to increase the profit in your gym. And so area number 1 is what I like to call business plan, or just your membership structure. When initially you got funding for a gym, or maybe you just had the cash, or however you opened it, most of us had to write a business plan to apply for a loan. And so we did that, and we kind of did the math that was, okay, I have this much square footage, a member takes up this much square footage, I can run this many classes, so I need to charge this much, this is how much I'll make with my theoretical member cap, and these are what my costs are, and et cetera, et cetera. So we all did a bunch of napkin math in the beginning, and it turns out that after having run our gym for a number of years, like the math just never adds up. It's never that easy to fill your gym. You're going to end up offering discounts, as most people do when you start. And things just change, right? So the business plan for most gyms needs to adapt to that, and it hasn't. And it's both the easiest and the hardest profit lever to pull in your business, because it usually involves the dreaded price increase. But let's talk about things under the umbrella of that business plan or membership structure. Here are the easy things to do. Easy. You can do a price increase. Most gyms are greatly undervaluing their service. And for me, if you're a CrossFit gym or something similar, boutique fitness, martial arts, you should be charging $200 a month. I don't care where you live. Some places more expensive, but generally speaking, and I don't like unlimited memberships, but I would be charging $200 a month, at least. I was charging $240, $250. Somewhere in the range between that, basically like $189 to $249 was where I was charging. And so the average membership is more like $220. So that's number 1. Number 2 is you can do things like switch to weekly billing, which I really like, not just because it gives us a 13th payment a year. So if you're making $20K a year, you've just added $20,000 to your annual revenue. Just literally no additional effort, but it evens out your classes. So now people are paying per week, which is another bonus that you can say, hey, now it's $49 a week and we bill once every 4 weeks. Yes, people will pay, they'll get billed twice, 1 month of the year. That's just how it works. But I really, really like it for the consistency of you're actually paying for this number of sessions, not an unlimited monthly pass. It's a big distinction. Sessions that are limited have more value. Things that are unlimited, I want you to think like a la carte steakhouse, limited. Unlimited, all you can eat buffet, not as desirable, not as good. Now you're going to attract the same caliber of people. So that's another big one. Passing processing fees on to your customers, or just saying, hey, if you'll do direct debit, then you don't have to pay the extra fee. That's not huge, but if you're doing somewhere between 20 to 30K a month, you're going to save around $1,000 a month in revenue. Obviously, it depends on your processor and what the fees are and all that stuff, but that's another big one. Removal of discounts is another big one. I'm sure you've got a lot of OG memberships and bro discounts and a lot of other things that you got going on. It's like, yeah, but this guy, supported me when I was just starting out, or these people are grandfathered in, or it's a couples discount or whatever. It's like, you can have whatever logic you want, but let's say that you buy, like we're Toyota people. We just buy Toyotas. We got introduced to a good dealer, and so we just keep buying Toyotas. But let's say my wife buys a Toyota and then I also buy a Toyota. We don't get a couple's discount. We both just need cars, right? Or, that's enough of an analogy. Or let's say I'm a firefighter and I want to go buy a Toyota for my personal life. I don't get a discount because I'm a firefighter or police or military. I'm not saying we shouldn't support or appreciate the services those people give us, but it doesn't necessarily make sense to entitle people to discounts somewhat arbitrarily because we look up to those people in our society. This is coming off as I don't really appreciate those people's service, which I very much do because they're essential. That being said, everybody just needs fitness. Like, it's a fundamental need. Therefore, I wouldn't be putting out discounts really for anybody, just standardized, not discount. The exception being for a paid in full. Another thing for another time, I don't love paid in fulls because they can kind of hamper your cash flow, but I do notice that when you sell paid in fulls, people who sign up for a year and very often won't be there in a year, depending on where they are in the length of their sort of engagement with you. But that's another way that you can do it. So those are the big things: price increase, weekly billing, removal of discounts, and processing fees. Those are easy profit levers. Most gym owners do not want to start there, and that's okay. And also, as a side note, I like to say cut once, cut deep, and just get it out of there. Just don't mess around with it. Just do it once and be done. People will hate it if you just constantly keep coming back and making little gouges like, hey, now I'm going to ask you to pay $5 more a month. And then 3 months later, I come back and now I'm going to ask you for processing fees. And they hate it. Just do it once, cut once, cut deep. You'll do the math on how much more you'll make and how many people you can afford to lose. And it almost always evens out or puts you ahead where you end up making more money and have less members to manage. So anyway, that is really what I wanted to cover today on the profit, the big movers of your gym in terms of profitability. The other two areas that we're going to look at are going to be your value ladder, aka additional services, and the last was going to be marketing. And marketing encompasses a whole umbrella of things, and not every gym owner loves it because we didn't become gym owners, and we're not passionate about fitness because we love to sell and market. But it's a huge component of what you need to do, whether it's organic or paid or whatever. You need the systems in place to be able to handle people, to take someone from a lead to a member in the best way for both you and them. So those are going to be the next two episodes we have coming up. So thank you for tuning into this one, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.